Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some chocolate and apricot sandwich biscuits or cookies. So these are going to be little light little biscuits with a little bit of apricot jam in and some chocolate piped around the jam, so to speak, and then the ends dipped in chocolate as well. So perfect little treats for Christmas, I think, but any time of the year, but Christmas in particular. If they work well, they'll be very, very good. So I start off by preheating my oven to 170 degrees Celsius, 150 Celsius with a fan, 340 Fahrenheit, and I've lined a couple of baking trays with some parchment paper. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and for this I have 170 grams, which is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup of plain flour. I have 100 grams, 1 cup of ground almonds or almond flour. I have 100 grams, which is about 3/4 of a cup of icing sugar. I have 1 medium egg and 2 medium egg yolks. That would be large in the USA. 40 milliliters, which is 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of milk, the zest from 1 lemon, and 100 grams, about 7 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. And then I have some apricot jam. How much you use, I'm not going to use very much, about half a teaspoon or less for each biscuit. And then some milk chocolate. You could use dark chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, whatever you want really, but I'm going to use some milk chocolate, which I will melt when I need it. So the first thing to do is to make the biscuits or the cookies. And to do that, I'm going to put in all the ingredients for the cookies or biscuits, except the flour. That will go in last. So that's the icing sugar and the ground almonds and the milk, the egg and the egg yolks, the lemon zest and the softened butter. And I'm going to mix those together with my hand mixer until everything's fully combined. So I've mixed that for a couple of minutes, and I'm simply going to put my flour in, and I'm going to mix it on a low speed. I don't want to work the gluten too much. On a low speed until it begins to come together, and then I'll finish it off with a spatula. So I've worked that quite nicely, and I'm going to put that into a piping bag, and I'm going to do it a bit at a time basically. And so I've actually just put a little bit of my dough underneath my parchment paper. That's just to try to hold it in place. And I should say you can make any shapes you want. And I just have a bit of a star nozzle on my piping bag, and I'm going to try to pipe just like that. I'm going to try to make them about the same size as each other if I can. So I've piped out my shapes, and they're differing sizes, but I've tried to keep them in pairs so that I've got matchable pairs basically. And I've piped out a third sheet of even more different shapes. So I'm going to bake these first two trays for about 12 minutes. I'll check them after 11, but about 12 minutes. I just want them to begin to colour around the edge, and as soon as they are colouring around the edge, I'm going to take them out of the oven and allow them to cool down, and I'll bake off the other ones. And once they've cooled down, I'll come back and we'll put the jam and the melted chocolate with them to make our biscuits or cookies. I baked my biscuits for 12 minutes. I actually left a second batch in for 13 minutes, but they were just beginning to colour around the edge. So I took them out and I put them onto a wire rack, and this is what they look like. And as you can see, I have the different sizes, and I should say you can make whatever shape you want. You just need to try to make them in pairs so that they match up quite nicely. So all I'm going to do, I've melted a little bit of chocolate already, and I'm simply going to take some of my apricot jam, just a little bit, and I'm going to put it onto a biscuit. I'm going to try to put it in such a way that I can then take a little bit of the melted chocolate, which as I mentioned, I think I'll put into a piping bag. And I'm just going to gently pipe a little bit of that around the jam like that. And then I'm going to place another biscuit on the top and leave it to set, and then that chocolate will firm up. The jam, obviously as it's jam, will not firm, but that will firm up just a little bit. And obviously you need to adjust the amount of jam you use depending on the size of your biscuit. And do the same with the remainder. So I've let my sandwich biscuits set up a little bit, and I've melted my chocolate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take the biscuits I'm going to dip one end into the chocolate like that, and then just scrape it off on one side, and I'm going to place it on the baking tray and leave it to set up. And do the same with the remainder. So I dipped all my sandwich biscuits in chocolate, and I've let the chocolate set up. So this is what they look like now. And as I mentioned, you can do various shapes, but they look quite good, I have to say. So I'll just have a taste of one of these small ones. That's very, very nice. Has the lovely texture, which is soft, of the biscuit. So it's firm on the outside, but it's a nice soft biscuit or cookie, with the chocolate as well. And then just that little hit of apricot jam as well. Very, very good indeed. So it's a simple recipe. It does take a little bit of time. And you could actually make these biscuits and dip them in chocolate without making the sandwiches and without putting the apricot jam in if you wanted to. Or you can put the apricot jam in and not put any chocolate on them. You can mix and match, do as you wish. So that's going to be it for this recipe, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.